Triplefour.
Let's talk about it. Okay, Triplefour podcast.
Yeah, he said
This dude makes a meatwad fucking thing for no reason, and then he says Jim Norton.
Bob Dylan I find personally obnoxious, but the Beatles destroyed culture.
Oh my god.
I got Elon Musk to smoke weed in my Tesla the other day. That's not even a big fucking deal.
Things are crazy right now. You don't know shit, do you? We really didn't.
You know, you can't always get what you want, but you'll find sometimes that if you try,
You just might get it.
Oh, you get it!
Welcome to Triplefour podcast, episode 44. We're just about 1-4 away from, 3 fours. That's kind of like the name of the podcast, kind of uncanny thing there. Monumental episode today. Big cast. We have, as usual, myself. We have Nicholas Wandersea.
hello.
There he is. We got Josh.
Hello. I'm in a different fucking place now. So
You keep ending up in these sort of unfortunate seeming locales. Josh.
I gotta do whatever it takes. Times are fucking weird right now.
How did you end up in that particular room? Like, what was the journey that got you there?
I got a phone call yesterday about 3 p.m. and they said, "Hey, I want you in my office." And I said, "Okay." I don't know who it is. It's like a star 67 number. It was just private.
69.
There, could have been two. But I got a phone call like that, private. So I'm like, all right, I might as well. So I asked him for location. He said, all right, here it is. And to be honest with you, I don't know who the fuck's going to show up. But I think at about a couple hours, it's going to be a little bit weird.
Well, we're praying for you.
It looks like a porno setup. To be
Excuse me?
honest. It looks like a porno setup.
Can't be. No way.
Look, I followed the guy's instructions perfectly. It can't be a porn set.
I don't know about that.
Fuck.
That's a perfect setup for a porno.
What's that couch smell like?
Oh.
Dude, you don't even want to know what the fucking smells like. That's why I'm sitting over here. That's why I'm away from the couch.
Now, what's that room smell like? Shit.
Okay, it smells like Febreze. I'll give it that.
Yeah, it's a mask of Febreze.
Yeah, there's a lot.
We also have original OG host Jacob Gasho with us today.
First time ever.
The original duo, back at it. This is kind of like a culmination of the two iterations of the podcast ensembles.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Live
What do you
answer.
What are you drinking?
Dude, it's fucking beer in a wine glass. It looks so fancy.
Oh,
I forgot what kind of beer it is, but it looks really cool.
Alrighty. Having a ball. And we have with us today the other members of Who Goes There. We have Ben Rosemann with us today.
Hello.
How are you?
What an intro.
Hello.
Good to see you, Ben.
And we have Jake Loesch with us today.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. How are you guys holding up during the lockdown? What's your experience been like, Ben and Jake?
Just doing whatever you can day by day to stay sane, I guess, just kind of been trying to find little shit to fill my time. A lot of video games. But aside from that, it's nice to get a little break from work. Although I'm missing it at this point, catching up on exercise and stuff. But yeah.
What's
Good
that?
day,
Are you
Ben.
guys, Ben, you said you and Maddie were working on a comic?
Yeah. So we're still kind of like in the idea phase right now, but it's set in the era of the gold rush, like late 1840s, early 1850s. And the whole idea behind it is like a Native American tribe that is essentially vampires. And, you know, you've got a guy who's moved there, you know, to try and escape his past and maybe, you know, do something good. Because like his wife had gotten into some gambling debts and they basically killed his wife, you know, because he couldn't pay up. And then you've got some woman who is you know, she like goes around killing off these native tribes for monies for all the settlers and stuff like that. And she's trying, this is like her last one before she gets out and stuff. And
this sounds like basically me and Dan falling in the snake pit in D&D.
How do you mean?
Like, it was supposed to go one way, but it just didn't.
Yeah. There's definitely going to be elements of that there. We're kind of at the part where Maddie's supposed to be working out some character designs and drawing up some stuff. And I've got like some notes and stuff written on all the characters and whatnot, and kind of like a basic outline for how the plot's going to go. But it's been cool. It's been something fun to think about and kind of work together on creatively. So it's been cool.
That's what's up. You know, Shakespeare wrote King Lear during the plague. So if your comic's not as good as King Lear, then
may as well just quit, right?
Yeah, pretty much. What about you, Jake?
Yeah, I've been taking the time. Well, I've been able to work. So that's been nice. You know, I feel for you guys, but like Ben said, you know, he's enjoying the time off. No, yeah, working out, trying to stay active, reading books. Yeah, it's been nice, you know, being able to go at your own speed, you know. So getting the garden going tomorrow, just shit like that, man. I mean, it's yeah, I've actually enjoyed it. I don't want anybody to die, and I understand a lot of people are getting hit financially, I guess. Some people not so much, but yeah, I gotta say it's been nice, and I think a lot of good shit will come out of this.
I think if you recall, we did an episode called the Local Vegan Expert. Jake is our local vegan expert.
Hey, yeah.
Hey, Jacob was kind of low-key almost vegan.
No, I was vegan for like 2 years.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah, but we're not on good terms anymore, me and the vegans. We got
vegans in general.
Yeah.
I didn't think the Jacobs were going to clash this early, but
you went plant-based, and then now you just trash them.
No. I'm just vegetarian. I'm not full-blown vegan anymore.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. I'm vegetarian. I'm not straight vegan. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Nick is the liar.
Nick is the liar. He's putting us against each other.
Whoa!
No conflict.
Mediator and personality type.
Yeah,
Nick
yeah,
Mondersee.
I always say plant-based, whatever it's easy, you know, kind of cover the bases.
You guys are plant-based, but Nick is lies and deceit-based.
Conflict.
We reduce conflict around here. We're, you know, Nick and I are mediator personalities. I'm the advocate. I advocate against, you know, violence and stuff. Nick is supposed to be kind of a mediator. He's kind of not doing that so much this episode. It's a little disappointed, but, you know, conflict, there's a lot of conflict out there in the world. Suffice to say, things are kind of crazy right now.
Oh.
There it is.
Is it just me, or is it getting crazier out there?
Because
Things are crazy right now.
That segue.
He said it. Well, you know, this is a podcast hosted from Missouri, the first liberated state, the first free state. We can do whatever. Everybody else in the country, you know, you guys suck. Missouri's rad because we can just do whatever.
Everything's open. Oh my God.
I read apparently concert venues and performances and stuff, that's like allowed. That's a part of this first phase. It's social distancing is supposed to be a part of it. You're supposed to be distancing socially, but you know, those mosh pits, the 6 feet mosh pits.
You're gonna be pushing the air in front of people.
Dan, here's a good one. Slow open to red flag. Bob Fancher posted the first event today, and he said he's trying to keep it small. They're doing a screening of Verotica.
Oh, dude.
Hell yeah.
I was hoping you were going to bring that up, man.
That's somewhere you want your personal space at that event. You know, that's the 6 foot distance is working in favor of that event right there.
Oh, boy. Have you guys watched it?
Yeah, me and Josh watched it together.
Nick,
Nick.
I don't want to watch that again. I watched it once and I'm fucking good.
Yeah. It's not even good cringe. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I was gonna say it's almost like the Room level kind of like. I could only imagine that experience of watching that with a crowd of people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All 6 feet apart, drunk. You know.
Dude, I just don't even remember the fucking third story. I don't even remember it anymore.
There wasn't one. It was just.
It really isn't.
We're dipping
Girl
into
takes
films.
a bath.
Sorry.
No problem.
Reel it back. Things are crazy right now.
Things are crazy right now. Things are so crazy right now. Danzig is making movies. That's how fucking crazy it is out there. Things are crazy. I saw, every day I'm seeing new stuff happening in my neighborhood. There was at least 4 or 5 different houses getting their roofs redone. This is like something I've noticed. I don't know if you guys have seen this. Like maybe there's some kind of roof coupon going around because I've seen like at least 6 new roofs going on. I saw a man on top of a roof and he almost slipped and fell to his death. I saw an almost death because of Corona roofing.
Do they have to grab his arm on the edge of the roof and be like, "You're gonna make it," like that sort of situation?
I wish. Like it was like 127 hours or something. Yeah. No, not that dramatic actually. He just slipped and on the crest of the roof. He just his foot slipped for a second. I was like, "There's a story. I'll bring that up." It's a whole story right there. That's how crazy things are. Also, and this one, Josh can weigh in on this. I got an email earlier from Robinhood, the app, not the clever thief.
What does it say? Your account's fucked?
No. So you know how they send out these little like emails where they tell you about stocks.
Oh yeah.
So let me read the headline for this. This is the subject of the email. Amazon sales soar, but shares plunge as Bezos puts good PR in asterisks. Good PR and worker health over profits.
Yeah, everyone forget about it. Like in 2 weeks, doesn't matter. Like everyone, like when as soon as one worker says something, everyone's like, "Oh shit, Amazon sucks ass," and then 2 weeks later, like, what do they do?
I mean, it's become such a crux of our society. It's like people can only neglect it for so long because they've become like dependent on it. You know.
That's always the thing. That's like always the thing is like in finance is that people forget. That's exactly what we think about. Like if it's an event that's bad for a company, how long does it last until people are like, oh yeah, whatever. Like Equifax, how it just leaked out everyone's financial information and personal. Everyone's forgotten about it now.
When did that happen?
About last year or 2 years ago.
Huh.
It leaked millions of people's financial and personal information.
Just out in the webosphere.
Yeah. Everyone's forgotten about it.
If you Google Jacob Gasho tax information, you'll find it.
First result, like instantly.
So it goes on to say, apparently something, I guess at the beginning of the earnings announcement, Bezos said, "You may want to take a seat," as if like, buckle up for this.
Like my fucking grandpa just died. Like,
yeah,
you're gonna sit down for this one.
You may want to sit down. Amazon sales jumped up 26%, This is also written in like stupid lingo. It says 26%, how much Amazon sales jumped. The Zon racked up over 75 bill in total sales.
What is this bullshit that you're reading, Dan? Is this like Inquiry or something?
You're going to need you to cite your sources.
You guys don't know about the Zon, bro?
The
Zon. Headed up by the Zos. 29%. How much Amazon's profit fell. The Zos, it doesn't say that. That's my addition. Zos took home a smaller than expected $2.5 billion in profit, despite the sales boom. Amazon brought in way more money, but spent even more. Okay, and this is what it says. Okay, now actually take a seat. Amazon proceeded to explain that in the upcoming quarter, it expects to make around $4 billion in profit. Then Amazon explained that investors can kiss that $4 billion goodbye.
What the fuck
Amazon.
is this? What the fuck is this? It sounds like a TMZ article as on Robinhood.
Dude, I don't know what's going on at Robinhood's writers. They got Harvey Levin writing their shit.
16-year-old people writing this shit.
They got Perez Hilton writing their fucking weekly newsletter.
All their normal
Amazon
writers are on furlough.
Yeah, they're probably fucking canned 95% of them. They just have an intern writing them.
You got to do anything, during Corona. You got to take pride in your work at home. You got to throw crazy new terms like the Zon in there and just cheer up.
Is Robinhood like a BuzzFeed thing?
No, it's a stock trading app. Hey, you know what? Let me invite you to it because we both get free stocks if I invite you.
Oh, okay.
This is the
investor.
Does anybody else have? I know Josh has it, but does anybody else have Robinhood?
No.
Nope.
Well,
we all can have free stocks now.
Mostly me though. I'm gonna do So I just became rich. I'm gonna be like the Zos in like a week, bro.
You're gonna be the wort.
Josh got a $200 stock out of Robinhood.
Yeah, I got Berkshire Hathaway.
Which is probably good because he's the only one who knows how to like actually manage that stuff.
I'm down a lot.
I'm down a lot.
You may want to take a seat. You may want to take a seat.
Got a college degree and I don't even know how to fucking use it.
Oh man.
Do you like my Pinecone?
God damn.
Bro, you kind of look like a turtle, to be honest with you.
I was going to say a Pinecone terrorist.
Well, that was the agenda all along.
Well, when the sinkhole opens back up, who goes there can open for Pinecone terrorist.
What kind of music would Pinecone terrorist play?
Pinecone terrorist.
I'm saying electronic music, like EDM type stuff.
I could
power electronics.
Yeah,
power electronics.
Yeah,
9 Inch Nails type of shit.
You would think that, but it's exclusively washboards.
Washboards with the pine cones, right?
Yeah.
Trust me. I know. I started Pinecone terrorist. Okay, so.
And it's just you, and you're dressed like that.
And I always have this pine cone.
Okay, I'll be real.
That's a giant ass pine cone, though. Where did you just find that?
I have a whole basket of these because I told you that was the agenda.
You just hooking them at your neighbors as they pass by, or what? Like,
no, dude. You know how much these go for?
The black market price pine cones.
I'm not hucking these at anyone. I'm fucking hold on to these.
Hoarding those giant pine cones.
Yeah.
It may sound like a joke to the viewers at home, but you guys did legitimately open for a band called Terminator 2 at the sinkhole, and they played like essentially power electronics.
No, that was a fun.
Oh shit.
Jacob would have loved it, dude.
Are you in a band, Nick?
The whole band's here.
I just told you I'm in Pinecone terrorist. Like I got
a side Pinecone terrorist.
Side project.
Yeah, we are the members of Who Goes There are in the house. It's me, Ben, and other Jake.
Well, that's what I was confused about because I heard Dan say who goes there. I had no idea what that was.
Yeah, and most people
As he
don't.
sips his beer out of a wine glass like a bourgeois pig.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm only listening to folk, rock, music.
I only listen to Tom Waits, Ty Segall,
John Lurie.
John Lurie, yeah. The Lounge Lizards.
Yeah, the Lounge Lizards.
This kind of brings me to the next part, the next segment. If Nick Wandersea wants to take over here, the top 3 thing.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't do it.
No, we can do that.
About that thing I asked.
So anyway. Yeah, so I guess why do I have to
dress
start?
it up?
Okay, fine.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to let other people participate in the podcast, okay?
Okay.
Sometimes I feel like I talk too much and I'm just trying to get other
because
people
you do.
engaged.
So anyway, no conflict.
Aussie vibes.
So the next part is going to be we're going to.
We had previously on the podcast we had done our top 3 Davids. So I proposed this week that we use our own names and do the top 3 Dan's, Nick's, and Josh's. I guess we can get our top 3 Jakes and Ben's in whatever.
Oh, jeez, man, that's gonna be rough.
I'll give you my my top 3 Nicks. They're all comedians. I tried to go away from the obvious. Nick Cage seems a little that's a little too obvious, so he's excluded from the list. But I would have to say my top 3 Nicks are Nick Frost, Nick Thune. And I'm teetering on Cave or Swartzen. Yeah, Swartzen was the other one.
All right, top 3 Dans. I got DeVito, Aykroyd, and Craig.
I guess Dan DeVito.
Craig.
Dan DeVito. We all know him. Other runners up: Zig,
Dan Zig,
Radcliffe, Day-Lewis, and Brown, as in Danny Brown, not Dan Brown, the author of The Da Vinci Code.
Oh, yes. Dan Day-Lewis.
Dan Day-Lewis.
Dandy Lewis.
Josh, what do you got?
So I guess my 3, I would put one was Josh Brolin. That was my first one.
Yep.
And then number 2, I had what was it? It was Josh Hutcherson. There's not a lot of Joshes,
Not
Slim
I
pickings.
don't know who that is.
He was in
dude
Hunger
from the
Games.
Hunger Games.
Oh, I thought that sounded familiar. That name.
What do you want? I got dicked on this.
Hey, this is why you can be everybody's number 1 Josh from now. Because there's not a lot
That's
of
it.
great Joshes
Yeah, there
out
really
there other than you. So,
Maybe Josh Brolin. I'll give him that.
that sounds like a Valentine's Day card. There's not a lot of great Joshes other than you.
I can't wait to start receiving those.
Don't let Hallmark get that one.
And then I guess last one probably would be Josh Peck, I guess.
What about Josh?
Bad.
Josh Safdie from the Safdie brothers.
Ooh,
There you go.
That could
yeah.
work,
Or I like
Replace that with
Josh Callis.
Hutcherson. I have no idea who that is, but a Josh Safdie, yeah. Safdie,
Oh,
I would put over Josh Hutcherson for sure.
Okay. Josh Callis is a pro skateboarder.
Oh, yeah, I haven't.
What about Josh Tree?
Joshua Tree.
That is
Joshua?
hilarious. I love that.
Comedy bits, the comedy show, you come on here, you get some laughs, you get out, that's what we do on the Triplefour podcast, All right, Jacob, top 3 Jakes or Jacobs?
Top 3 Jakes or Jacobs. Or I guess there's Jake from Twilight. I can name that one.
Who is that?
Number one.
Taylor Lautner.
Oh yeah.
There's Jacob.
Werewolf.
What other Jacobs are there?
Yeah, dude, it's tough, man.
The biblical Jacob.
There's the biblical Jacob.
I was gonna throw that one out there.
There's a shit ton of Jacobs, but no famous Jacobs. We're just a bunch of average schmoes.
Pretty much, dude.
What about other Jacob? Can you help me out here? Any famous Jacobs?
I'd say Jake Gyllenhaal, Jake LaMotta.
Oh shit, that's a good one. Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake LaMotta was an old school boxer. He was a badass back in the day. And I'm having trouble.
Raging Bull.
Yeah, thinking of another one. I can't.
Well, those are two pretty good Jakes.
Yeah, those are way better than mine.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man.
I'm giving it a Google for you. Jake Paul, hello.
No.
Who's Jake Paul?
That's not.
That's the real question.
Jake Paul is that YouTube guy that
he asked himself that.
Yeah. Brother of Logan Paul.
Yeah,
wait.
He's terrible.
And then their older brother, Paul.
No one mentions him.
Comedy bits, comedy show. You come here, you get your laughs. Jake Johnson from
That's
New
a good
Girl.
one. I like him.
Yeah.
He was actually in. Sorry if you're not ready for Tyme For Filmz, but he was in a film that I watched this week. I'll get to that later.
Is this the segment? I'm sorry if you're not ready for Tyme For Filmz.
I'm sorry if you're not ready for this segment.
But
Jacob Sartorius. That's like he's like a singer on YouTube. He's like a little child boy.
Yeah.
Are you just Googling these right now, Dan?
Yeah.
Oh,
Trying to help you out.
I thought you knew them.
Google your first name.
Well, it's the last time.
There's not that many
else.
Yeah, there's not that many.
And what about Ben? Top 3 Bens.
Yeah, I had to pull the Google trick too because the only two I could think of were Ben Affleck and Ben Stiller, neither of which I'm necessarily fond of. I mean, Ben Stiller, I guess, has his moment. Ben Stiller has his moments, you know, but Ben Affleck, like, I mean, unless you're like really into like Mission Impossible, I guess.
Hey, he was in Mallrats.
Yeah, that's true. I did find a Ben Stein though, who I know his face. I can't place him in anything off the top of my head, but I'm like, I know that guy. I like that guy.
Win Ben Stein's money.
Yeah,
that was the show.
That's true.
Old school shit.
There's Benedict Cumberbatch.
Jesus, what a fucking name.
Okay. All right.
On a technicality.
Ben Franklin.
That is a good one. That's a good one, man. $100 bill.
$100 bill was a different guy.
Well,
that's true.
Well, he's on the $100 bill though.
$100 William.
$100 billiard.
Stinglebink Bumblebop.
Huh. Nick has just had a stroke, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know.
It's all that Pinecone shit.
You smelled too much Pinecone.
Too much Pinecone, dude.
Those were my top Bens.
All righty.
So what we learned from this was that there's no famous Jakes or Joshes out there, really.
No.
But Dan's and Nick's pretty cool.
Fucking plentiful.
You know, we're just out here mediating, you know?
Mediating, advocating,
Maybe a little bit conflict making. Who knows?
There may be a conflict in the making because it's Tyme For Filmz.
Ah, nice.
Parasite, Midsommar, Jean-Luc Godard, Robert Eggers sucks. This is the Tyme For Filmz theme song. It's over.
This is Jacob's favorite segment.
When I listen to the show, it is, yeah.
Well, there you go. All right. So last week, Nick, Josh, and I watched a little film called Corona Zombies. You may be familiar with the pandemic that's currently taking place.
I was not
Corona.
aware.
All right, this is a film made by Full Moon Features, Charles Band, the makers of, Trancers, Puppet Master, Evil Bong, the classics.
No.
So, really high-profile cinema.
Real family shows.
Yeah. Corona Zombies came out like 2 weeks ago. It's very obvious that there was only one scene filmed for it before the lockdown took place, if that. Because there's only one scene that's actually a new original footage, and it's just this girl walking around her house on her phone. So I don't even know if maybe they just shot that during quarantine. And the rest was two other movies. One was an older Italian film called Virus, or Hell of the Living Dead. It has like 4 titles. But they just dubbed over it with new dialogue that's all about coronavirus. It was kind of an experimental kind of art piece. Almost.
How long was it?
It's like an hour and 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. Was there any sort of actual ending, or did it just end like out of nowhere?
I want to know how this shit plays out, man.
It was like, basically, most of the movie was this girl walking around her house. She watched TV. Donald Trump was on TV. They cut real news briefings into it.
Classy.
News stories. There was a part with the famous video of the kids in Florida talking about I don't care.
Oh yeah, damn, that's super early.
Isn't it? It's kind of interesting though, because it's like a historical document almost. It's like a perfect capsule of this time.
Yeah.
Like it has all of these incredibly timely references. Like in one of the side plots with the Italian movie, there's all these guys with guns trying to defeat this terrorist, and they dub over it so that the plot is that the terrorist is hoarding toilet paper.
Where did you stash the toilet paper, Francois?
You'll never find it, but you won't be needing toiletries where you're headed. The zombies are coming for you, and no amount of social distancing in the world can save you from their ravenous.
And then there's that what's it? The Argento guy? Was that his name? Argento?
Yeah, which is definitely a reference to Dario Argento.
But he just keeps running into crowds of zombies repeatedly.
Yeah, the man's just fucking insane.
He never fights any of them. He just runs into the crowd.
Are the
Go ahead, Jacob.
Are the zombies the one infected by corona? Is that the dealio?
They overdub it to make it that. What was it at the beginning? It was the soup factory.
Oh yeah, the big ass soup cans that they were making. The ginormous fucking
Scambles.
Yeah.
Scambles.
Scamble soup. And there was a part where there was a guy just going insane in the soup factory. Just losing his mind. That cracked me up.
Oh, you don't remember that song from the 90s? Insane in the Soup Factory?
Insane in the Soup Factory. That's
exactly. Josh or Jacob.
Pinecone terrorist single. But yeah, kind of very insensitive. Not a very
I'm already offended.
Yeah. All right, I wanted to introduce a new thing for Tyme For Filmz where we got to come up with a rating. We got to have introduce the rating system.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
5 stars.
Wow. Nick's got
5-star system? 5-star system?
5-star system.
No, that's my rating and rating system.
Everything 5 stars?
Yes. Yeah, everything's 5 stars. This is the classic Nick letterboxed system. It's either 5 stars or no review.
Yes.
Corona Zombies.
5 stars.
All right.
Light 2. It's a light 2.
A light 2.
It's dependent on me because it's like if it's a solo watch, oh, absolutely don't. Don't. That's a fucking straight 0. There's no point. It's a definite watch with friends. So I think with the friends, I would say like 2.5.
Yeah, if I'm being totally honest, it was hard to watch with friends.
Maddie watched it with us.
We were probably like 40 minutes in, and I'm like, is this fucking Jesus Christ? Is this almost over?
If you get clips in there that were pretty good, then okay. But yeah, there was parts where it was just extended way too long.
Was it like The Room? Hard to watch like The Room?
Worse than The Room. The Room is watchable.
Worse.
Yeah,
oh
worse.
my God. That's insane. That's hard to do.
Maddie was watching with us.
It's really
and she fell
only
asleep.
funny because it's topical.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the news because there's a little development on this because today I went online, I was looking at new movies. There was a new film out, and this one is called 5G Zombies.
Oh. Man,
I am not
see it.
kidding.
Yeah, no.
This is real life. It's on MB as of now.
Oh, that's why. A straight to MB film.
Straight to MB. So maybe that it looks even worse. It's like an originally shot film. This one I think was actually made in quarantine.
Wow.
Which is that's kind of interesting, but also not safe, and also can't be good. Straight up cannot be good in any way.
Can't be any worse than Veronica.
Yeah, you're right, man. That was terrible.
We had talked. Sorry, go ahead, Jake.
No, I was just gonna say I find it interesting. That's what he's gonna do at Red Flag. Is he's gonna do that showing. I mean,
well, I mean, it'd be hard to pack a room for that.
So I guess you're right. You know, it's a soft opening, I suppose. With Veronica on. Yeah. Did you guys? Who all watched that movie?
Has anybody checked on Danzig? Do we know that Danzig's how's he
sane
doing
individual?
Right
I don't think he's sane. He's definitely not sane.
Well, he's just a prima donna, man. He's just I don't know.
Mr. Zig.
Maybe he's just into that sort of thing.
Josh and I watched Veronica.
Yeah.
I have not seen that movie.
You don't need to.
You don't need to. Danzig directed it. It's like a 3-part horror anthology.
It's supposed to be like a show, I think, a little bit.
Which is Josh's mom's favorite movie.
That is true.
Mm-hmm. The first part was kind of entertaining. Like by the end of the first part, Josh, we were like, I was like, dude, okay, this is bad. The fucking the spider guy, the Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Dude, Spider Guy goes, okay?
Yeah, he does.
The first part is the best for sure. There's no question.
And then the second one was like the detective, the strippers were being killed, and most of it was in the strip club. Like 20 minutes of strip club footage.
Oh yeah.
Dude, he played a whole Danzig song while the chick let you dance on stage. It was brutal, dude. I mean, that's whatever. That's corny as shit, you know what I mean?
That's definitely where it loses the steam because it had it to where it was like I even said like this scene's way too fucking long, and it was but there was the dude. I will say this: there was the dude with the cowboy hat that said "fuck" on it, and I was like, okay, that's pretty good.
I want that. I want that hat. This is Veronica had the same level of awareness as the Puddle of Mud Nirvana cover.
Yeah.
See, like it seemed like when we were set up to watch it, I was thinking like this is gonna get like a The Room kind of like it's gonna be a hilarious like bad movie to watch, but it's not that entertaining. Especially the third segment, which is literally no plot. It's just this woman bathing in blood for 30 minutes.
Yeah,
I was gonna say after Spider Guy, you might as well just, and that's about as much as you're gonna get out of it.
Right. The first part is great. Second part, there is parts in there. The detective had some lines. I can't remember any of them right now, but he did have some lines that were kind of fucking
Dick pasta.
so
Now,
stupid.
speaking of low budget movies, the one I'm really curious to hear about from both Jake and Dan is Velocipaster.
Oh, real quick, 1.5 on Veronica.
That's
light 1.5.
generous.
Yeah,
I don't know how you even got that.
Hey, there was that part where the Spider-Man was behind that woman, and he was like, he's like, I'm gonna fuck you, and the woman was like, oh yeah, and then she didn't know he was a spider. She had no idea he was a spider, so she was like into it, and then she turns around and she's like, "You're a fucking spider," and he rips her head off. Spoilers for Veronica, I guess.
Oh yeah, and she has
division involved in that rating.
She had eye nipples, so that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
what?
Nip? Oh yeah.
Her tits were on her
staring
head.
at me.
All right, that was fun.
No, there were eyes on her tits.
Oh, eye nipple. Okay.
0.3 out of 5.
0.3.
Yeah, it was bad, dude.
Anyway, Velocipaster
this is really fun to talk about.
Was great. I thought it was gonna be like, I didn't think it was gonna be some like blockbuster or anything, but I did think it was gonna have more budget than it did. I read a like an article about it like a year and a half ago where the guy was talking about making it and like how he went through this process of like the idea came from an autocorrect in his phone. Like he was trying to type Velociraptor and it ended up becoming Velocipaster. And like, that's how he got the idea. And he was like a film school guy, wanted to make a movie. And he said like, at first he wanted to make this really like serious meditation on religion and like growing up and stuff, and like Ingmar Bergman, like highfalutin thing. And then one day he was just like, what am I doing? I should just make a movie about a guy who becomes a velociraptor and make it really silly. Which I really appreciate. I like that approach.
I love, you said it yourself that it's basically straight out of the playbook for yourself. I told you when I recommended the movie, I said, you may as well have made this movie like right off the bat at the very beginning of the movie when the fucking car blows up and they don't show the car blow up and it just says insert VFX.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm in. I'm sold.
I'm surprised that didn't turn up again in the movie. That was the only time they had like that big of sort of like
and then he says I'm going to China, and then the next shot of him is in the woods in like fucking Ohio.
Dude, I lost it there.
And it just says China.
Yeah.
I think the VFX like text joke would not be as good if he kept using it. Like it's good that he just did it one time.
Well, that's it's like the preliminary look. This movie is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Even his priest outfit, like it wasn't a good priest outfit, you know, like you could get a better one on Amazon. Like that's the kind of like, he leaned into his budget so well and like made jokes of the awareness of it being a bad movie, which I prefer to like.
That's what makes it so good.
Yeah, exactly. Like I prefer that to like, you know, there are sometimes they make bad movies on purpose and it's like parody, but this was kind of just like, look, here's the fucking rules. We don't have money for the VFX thing, so we're just you just use your imagination. Like he set the rules so early, and I think like that was good. And it's like not even like there's one joke, you know, sometimes with this kind of thing where it's like the title is a pun, you know, it's like Velocipaster, like, oh, it's going to be like the whole movie is this one joke.
Yeah,
but
like a Sharknado,
yeah, this movie had I think just used that like to begin with. And the jokes were more, there were more jokes. There were more, I don't know, like there were more good gags than just that one thing, you know, like my favorite, I think the part I laughed the hardest at was like when he first transforms into the raptor and then he wakes up with the girl and then she's like, you turned into a raptor last night. And he was just like, what? And then it's like him looking around for a while and the camera just slowly zooming on his face as he's looking around and he just goes, what?
Time you turned into a dinosaur and ate someone.
Wait. What? What?
Yeah. I like at the end when he's about to fight his brother and the ninjas, and because in the like middle of the movie they show flashbacks of him with his parents, and then when he meets his brother they show those flashbacks again, and just his brother like in the background, or the family's all laughing. He's just like looking at them very like angrily. Everything.
Yeah.
Like, did you guys ever watch Black Dynamite?
Oh, yeah.
I never saw that movie.
No, I watched My Name is Dolomite. I've never actually seen Black Dynamite.
Yeah, you guys got to check that out because it's kind of like the same thing. It's like a low budget playoff, like an old, 70s Kung Fu Black.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It definitely shows you the rules early on, and it's kind of like that. It's self-aware of itself.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You guys got to check it out. It's great. But yeah, it's kind of what I got a little out of the Velocipaster. Kind of the same thing.
Velocipaster was definitely, it was inspiring for me. Like, I was just like, it's good to always watch that kind of stuff and just say, like, here's a guy who just made the best with what he had. And he clearly, like, just had fun. And there's just a lot of joy in the film, which is what I really like.
It was very heartfelt. And let's not ignore that fucking soundtrack slaps.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
that was clearly all like local bands that he was friends with, which is classic.
Uh-huh.
It was good.
There were some moments that are like that kind of get into like a more genuine like feeling, like the sex scene and like that goes on for like a while.
Oh, and are you talking about when they do the montage?
Yeah. Well, there's the montage.
The editing on that where they have like the fucking 9 squares and there's a whole that was actually like super artistic.
It was kind of cool. But there were parts of it that seemed a little bit more like, all right, well, this is like the serious beat for a second, which I admire trying to do that. I don't know if they actually like worked, but it, Velocipaster, good shit.
Rating.
That's a 4 for me. That's a 4 for me.
Okay.
4?
That's good. All right. Go 4 point.
You guys are going points. I'm like on half stars.
I'm going to 4.314.
I would give it 3.5. I would say 3 or 3.5. That's my range.
Okay. What about you, Jake?
Little harsh.
Yeah. I'm gonna roll with you guys. Well, I watched it twice, man, and I'll give it a 4. That sounds about right. Because I mean, I even when you like you'll recommend a movie to somebody, I almost had to go back and rewatch it because I'm like, man, I loved it that first time, but I gotta make sure that it was good because I keep recommending this shit to everybody. Maybe I was buzzing a little bit that night. I don't know, but yeah, it really hit. So yeah, I'll give it
Cool. So Velocipaster, check it out. I'll try to put some of the clips in the podcast if I can.
Ooh, fun.
Jacob, did you watch American Movie?
I did watch it.
What'd you think?
Oh wow, yeah, just way to one up me.
Okay.
Nick didn't see it?
No, Dan told me to watch it and I fucking forgot.
Dude, I thought it was so good. It was really heartwarming. And it was inspiring. That was an inspiring documentary. The only thing is, I guess I can't really say any spoiler, but the only thing I didn't like was it didn't really give any information what happened after the end of the movie. I told you.
I don't think a lot did happen.
And that's what I'm guessing. I want to do a little bit more research though. If he like actually made a Northwestern, that movie that he said he was going to make.
He kind of dropped off the face of the earth. I would like to. It would be cooler if he was more involved.
Yeah,
I could tell by that short shot of Ben that he is just enthralled with the movies that he's never seen.
I'm listening right here. I'm gonna go check out Velocipaster probably after hearing all that, though.
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna take a watch for that.
Definitely should.
Yeah.
Maybe you should watch American movie before Velocipaster.
That's actually, yeah, I would. I mean, I haven't seen American movie, but I know what it's about, and I would agree with Jacob. And
so is American movie more
that
serious in tone? I know you said it's like a documentary, so is it more just like
it's
more
pretty
serious?
funny. It is serious, but the characters, like the main guy Mark, he's just a real charismatic dude, and then he's a
real dude. He's just a real dude.
And his friend is so quiet and like such a character in his own right that my brother, he was coming in, he's like, "Are you watching an actual movie?" I'm like, "No, this is just how these guys are." It's just so weird.
So I guess the premise, it's not. Is it a documentary or is it?
It's a documentary. It's a documentary about this guy named Chris Borchardt making a movie, trying to make a movie.
Okay, yeah, because that's why Dan recommended it to me originally, was because it's two guys from the Midwest trying to make a movie and running into fucking every obstacle. Sounds familiar, right?
Yeah.
Well, so it's a little different though, because this guy, like, this is the mid 90s that this took place. So
well,
the difficulties.
Whoa.
Mid 90s. We don't talk about it.
Okay.
Bad. Anyway,
sorry.
This is the mid 90s. So this guy was like he had to like get film, and he had to spend money on film, like physical film to shoot with and stuff. And like paying for his locations. And like a big part of the movie is him getting funding from his uncle. And his uncle is like this decrepit old man who
oh my God. Yeah.
It's such a story. Like the guy is like, he's just this tiny little man who can hardly speak. And he's just like, "Well, I'm not going to be giving you any of my money if I'm not getting it back." And just like, they're just, ultimately it's a lot more than just about these guys making a movie. It's about these characters. Like these are very real people, and like they have real dreams. And
that's what really got to me. It made me realize just like the abundance of small town people who like maybe get into film and they're just trying to get their dreams met in some way, shape, or form.
Can't relate.
But even more so though, like the stories of those kind of people, like his friend, the short guy.
Oh yeah.
Like,
he has some drug stories that are super cool.
Yeah, his little monologue that he gives towards the end of the movie. I don't want to like give it away, but like he has a little monologue because you don't like hear a lot from him for most of the movie, and then towards the end he like opens up a little bit, and then you're kind of like, whoa, like this guy's had a life of his own. And then there's the uncle and his mom, like the guy's mom who's like Swedish. And you kind of see, she's more like a subtle story where like you kind of see just like how she is around her family and stuff. And you're kind of like, man, like what a life she ended up having, just like it's a very cool, homey, and also inspiring, little sad, kind of very happy to kind of
great bits. Great
bits. Great movie. Yeah. That's 4.5 for me.
I agree. 4.5.
So is it more like a documentary?
Yeah, complete documentary.
Well, that's what it is. Okay. Maybe
they do show you his like parts of his films.
Yeah.
In it.
I would like to see his films too. I thought they looked kind of cool.
Yeah. Jacob and I had a conversation yesterday about this, and then that's when I told him to watch it. But Maddie Tubbs said she watched it, and she said the same thing. She's like, I just want to see his movie now, like
yeah,
because he's a talented guy. Like you can see it.
I know.
I bet it sucks.
Yeah. Moving on.
Fuck that guy.
All right, we got one more thing to talk about, and I think most of us can chime in on this. Midnight Gospel. Ben, did you watch Midnight Gospel?
No.
Ben, you're fucking up. You're fucking up. You gotta. I see you going to Google right now. You don't even know what it is.
I'm about to just look at what the fuck this is.
Shame.
I didn't mean to watch it. No, I didn't mean to watch it. I was
No
actually
conflict.
going to start watching that like tonight.
No conflict.
No
Ben's
lie.
been meaning to watch it.
Nick's feeling
Man.
my vibe. The I told you to watch something and you didn't watch it. But Jake, did you say you watched Midnight Gospel?
Yeah, I did. I've been a fan of Duncan Trussell's Family Hour. Like, I listened to his podcast quite a bit. So yeah, I was, as soon as I found out about that, I was all about it. Yeah, man, it was good. I liked it. Obviously funny. Like, I like the concept of it. I think a lot of people they might not get it so much. Yeah, man, I really dug it. It was cool. It's cool the way they did that.
It's a pretty deep show, isn't it?
No doubt.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I've heard you guys talk about it before.
It's phenomenal. Honestly, it's definitely better if you've done psychedelics, but it's still it's good all around.
Good bits, good vibes, good all around.
Is there like a consistent storyline throughout it, or is it like more episodic?
No, because it's really it's more episodic. I mean, there are.
I mean, it's kind of
it's based around the one character, but the format of it is basically podcasts that were already recorded, and they take snippets from the podcast, and the animation is complementary to the podcast. Yeah, so
I see.
Not necessarily a completely linear storyline, but it benefits you to watch it in order.
Sure.
But anyway, I don't want to talk too much about it because I talked about it last week. I really am more curious to hear Dan's thoughts.
I want to hear what Josh thinks first.
Popcorn.
No, you.
Popcorn. Yeah.
I really liked it a lot, actually. I like the different perspectives of a lot of different people, because it's like one of them was a doctor, and then one of them was like a meditation, like it was Buddhism, talking about that. Another one was talking about like death in her family and how she like dealt with it and what her experience was with it. And then one of the last one, especially with the mother, is especially I think the most touching and the most like
holy shit! Did you cry? Did you cry?
I did. I teared up a little bit. Yeah.
Good vibes. Good vibes. Good bits. Good all around. He cried. Okay.
It was fucking sad. Okay.
That last one's a fucking doozy, man.
It's especially like I think when I got out of it, really a lot was like human like frailty and human like fragility, and as well as like volatility in people's lives, because especially. Like, given one of them was like one of the situations was the guy meditates for so long every day, and he's been to prison, but he says he like has really no social life because he meditates so much. He only has a few friends, and so it's like the experience of like something like jail is different for everybody.
Dude, yeah, but the soul prison one was tough.
That was the visuals on that as well. But it's like it's different. I think. But yeah, something like that is like the different experiences that you actually get to see throughout the different episodes. But especially the one, especially the mother one is especially touching, and especially one that I think a lot of people should watch, especially because it's like it might hit a chord with you, whether or not you've had someone that's passed on, or had a friend had someone who had someone pass on.
How long is the whole thing?
It's 6 episodes, and they're each episodes. About 8. Sorry, I mixed up my numbers. It's 8 episodes, and they're all about 26 minutes, so roughly 4 hours.
Get that in one night.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I told Dan.
I watched 6 of the 8. I watched the first 5 and the last one. So what I liked about it was I liked the podcast element, and I thought that like form was cool. Like I liked the like way it was built. Like I liked the concept of the show, and I liked the content of the podcast audio. It reminded me a lot. I had not listened to Duncan Trussell's podcast. I actually listened to a little bit of one episode earlier today. Actually, the one I listened to because I looked into it after I was watching the show. The one I started listening to was his episode with Ian Fidance, who famously once said of the
endorsed the
Triplefour
podcast.
Yeah, I just want to say fuck Robert Eggers and listen to the Triplefour podcast, whatever the fuck that's called.
Also, Ian Fidance put out an EP, not an actual video stand-up set, but like an EP of his stand-up, and I listened to it. Check that out. Friend of the podcast, Ian Fidance, clearly, so plug. So anyway, I had not listened to Duncan Trussell's podcast, but the content of it really reminded me a lot of Pete Holmes' podcast, actually. You Made It Weird, where he talks a lot about spirituality and drugs and mental health, the human experience, all that kind of stuff. It seems like Duncan Trussell's, or at least, so I guess Duncan Trussell interviews people, like all kinds of people, but the people that they actually used in the show were mostly like, it seemed like writers and people interested in spirituality and drugs and meditation. Dr. Drew was the first one. I guess he's the most like name recognishable, most name recognition of all of them. I made it up just now. So I liked the content of the podcast, and I was interested in what these people had to say, right? But my issue came about with like the animation of it is in direct competition with the audio. You know, like I didn't think that it worked together for me. Like at first, the Dr. Drew,
it's a lot to focus on. It is a lot to focus on.
Well, but I'm saying like, give me a second.
Sorry.
So like Dr. Drew, in the Dr. Drew episode, it's like Dr. Drew is the president of the United States, and there's like a zombie thing going on, and he's having the conversation with Dr. Drew, and I'm like interested in the conversation, what Dr. Drew has to say and what Duncan is, retorting with. And the animation is Dr. Drew as this president guy, like fighting zombies, and Duncan as Clancy, like, and they're having this little adventure, and it's like in complete opposition to what's happening in the audio track. It's like a joke, kind of like it's almost a joke.
That's
how
so great about it.
I think at first I thought it was funny. Like I thought it was, like I said, it's a joke, kind of. I think over time the episodes got to be more relevant to what they were discussing, but after a while it just made me frustrated. I was like, I just want to like hear what they're talking about. Like I want to focus on the conversation. Like I don't care about what all is happening in this this animation. Like I just don't care.
Put it on again and don't watch the TV.
Well, that's another problem is that like I knew this was going to cause issues because
we're going to find no conflict. Dan,
no conflict
in a parking lot.
I have a problem with the
podcast.
show Nick liked.
That's it. We're fucking Big A's parking lot.
You can't just put it on and can't just put it on and listen to it, right? Because it's so truncated. They've cut it up so much, and sometimes it just completely deviates from the conversation, and it just becomes
not
about
the last episode though. Not the last episode.
No, the last episode really is straightforward.
It was done well,
yeah.
Because that's what that was good. Really beautiful.
I don't have this problem with the last episode. I'm saying the rest of the show is like this, where like I felt like it was getting in the way. Like I was more interested in the podcast, and that's just my taste. Because that was the thing I was more interested
Dan
in. I
hates cartoons.
I kind of agree with Dan on this a little bit, because there's a part where Pauly Shore.
All right,
is
Josh, you can meet me in the Big A's parking lot too.
Pauly Shore is in an episode where he's like this prince, and he sucks someone up his ass. Like, come on, come on.
And so
that really took me out.
It's so like it kind of becomes this thing, and this is what I said last week, was I was like not interested because I didn't want it to be some like stoner cartoon thing. Like I didn't want it just to be. Well, my impression was that like beyond the conversations, which I did enjoy, as I've said 100 times, the like animation combined with that made it to become a whole product that kind of felt to me like, dude, this would be so cool to just like drop acid to, dude, it would be so cool to just like take drugs to this. I wanted to hear the conversation, so I would just go to the podcast, and maybe that's what I should do. And that's what I'm, more interested in the podcast now. But like, I just felt like, man, I just let the conversation live. I don't know. The last episode was different because not only was it not, an expert writer or whatever talking so directly about, their opinions on magic or meditation or whatever, but it was just him and his mom. And it was a very personal thing. The rapport is already there. And that animation in that episode was pretty relevant to the conversation. And it kind of was presenting the ideas that they were discussing in an abstract kind of expressionist
That, and I think part
way.
of the thing that got me with that was the whole imagery of him giving birth to his mother and then them aging. Like that was pretty. Yeah, no, that was pretty wild, and that definitely complemented, like you said, the animation in that episode actually complements the conversation.
So
it was like a whole circle of life thing, man. It's pretty wicked. I dug it.
Yeah, and then them turning into the planets and going into the black hole and that whole fading into existence. Now, do you know this? That was an episode of the podcast that he recorded with his mom that was 3 weeks before she passed.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of clear in it because he talks about her being, having cancer. So I guess why aren't all the episodes like that? I mean, I guess, the Soul Prison one, that one definitely was trying to kind of relate to the guy talking. Yeah, but I think that was the one I watched and listened to that I was least interested in what the dude was saying. Because because he started talking about multiverse stuff and like consciousness and
you just got to do more drugs, Dan.
I know, and that's what the fucking dude said. He was like, dude, he's like, man, I finally actually experienced this when I took DMT, and I was like, bro, I should just be watching Rogan, shouldn't I?
Shit you not. I know this. You're gonna hate this, but there is an image in that episode that if you have done DMT, you're like, yo, that's exactly what the fuck. Like,
and it brought up this whole thing to me of like, because you and I have had this conversation, Nick, right, about hallucinogenic drugs.
How you're no fun and you don't like.
I'm a fucking loser because I haven't taken hallucinogenic drugs, and how I'm not going to experience multiverses because I haven't taken this. And
you fucking,
when I watched,
you're just
that
a
episode,
simp, dude. You're just,
I'm just a dumb idiot moron because I haven't taken DMT. Like the guy in the episode of the Stoner cartoon on Netflix.
This is my favorite bit.
And I was like when he actually said the words DMT, because I was like kind of interested in what he was saying at first. And you know what? I would probably listen to that episode of the podcast, but I was kind of interested at first. And then he said, like, I actually experienced this when I took DMT. And that just totally broke my interest. Because look, I have an issue with people, and you have done this to me before, Nick, mediator, no conflict. There's this thing that people do where they come up to me and they're like, you really don't know. You really don't know until
you don't know shit, do you?
Hallucinogens, dude. Like, until you take shrooms, dude, you will not know what it is like to be in the multiverse. You won't. Your reality is not real until you do this. And like, nobody can tell me why that information is useful. Like, why is the experience I'm going to gain from these things useful? Because I don't know anybody who's taken a bunch of drugs and told me, and then like bought a company and made $1 million. I don't know anybody who's like significantly improved their life habits by taking hallucinogenic drugs. Like, I know that I can't understand because I haven't done them. Right. That's the argument, but I'm tired of being like shamed about it. And I felt like
Dan, I'm not shamed. You understand this is a bit. I'm not.
I know it's a bit. And Luke Dykes is going to listen to this and like threaten to punch me or something. Cause he's like our number one antagonist apparently. But yeah, I don't know. Like that's
okay. So you've taken a very hard stance on this.
It's
clearly
not a bad
mediator,
show.
No conflict.
Not a bad
conflict.
I didn't say that.
No. I'm talking about the psychedelics, not the.
I'm not even against doing them. I'm just tired.
And
of
now I'm here to tell you that you'll never fucking know, dude. You'll never get it, dude. You'll never get it. It is it's hard to put into words, and it is.
This is exactly what I'm talking about.
I know,
dude. I can't put it into words, man. You're just too dumb. You're just
bit, but not
dumb.
a bit, but not a bit. It's an experience. It really is the experience.
Jacob, weigh in
on psychedelics.
Yeah.
I feel like so. I've done mushrooms. I've done.
Dude, the FBI is.
I should not. Well, my parents are in the other room, so.
And they're in the FBI.
It's okay. This is going to be on the internet.
Well,
we'll
they know
directly to.
That's true. I've done mushrooms. I've done acid, and I've done ayahuasca. But I've done.
Ooh.
And so, ayahuasca is the only thing I can compare to DMT. But I didn't really have a lot of visuals. I just had a lot of feeling, experience, like experiential type thing, rather than. And same with shrooms. Shrooms, I didn't really have much. Like some people say they see crazy shit. I've never actually seen crazy shit. I've never done.
And it's different too, depending on what you're. Not to. I don't want to get on the.
We're in full Rogan mode, bro.
Yeah, we're in full Rogan mode. But Dan, the best way I could explain it is because
Dan,
you said
you're such a dumb idiot, and you
no.
don't.
It's okay, not a bit anymore. I'm serious now because you said nobody has ever been able to actually explain it to you. I mean, it's different across platforms depending on what you're taking. You know, acid is very much more visual. Mushrooms are a very mental. Every time I've ever taken mushrooms, it's a very mental. I always come away with a different perspective. It shifts your whole world. I think, man. Very emotional and mental, yeah, like I said, versus the DMT thing. That I feel like that's spiritual. That's all right. Go ahead. Go back to making fun of me.
Well, I always felt that the shrooms was more of it felt like therapy in a way.
Absolutely. Every single time, I always cry, and I always try to work through.
You always have good bits. You always have good bits.
Always good bits. So I cried.
No, but I mean like good cry, like a therapeutic cry. I always set aside a portion of that particular trip for some form of working through trauma or something like that. I have overcome great emotional hurdles by eating mushrooms.
And acid is not like that. I felt that it was fun. It was more just like a fun, wacky thing to do. Like
you may
cool
have
tunes.
an epiphany. Yeah, you may have an epiphany or something here or there, but literally every time I eat mushrooms, there's a major shift in my perspective, like my worldview.
Back to the show, though. I was curious, Nick, did you listen to or read up on any interviews with the guy who did the show, like did the animation?
Pendleton Ward?
Yeah, like I'm curious why there's such a strong contrast between the animation.
I haven't
and
heard anything from Pendleton specifically. I did watch, and I talked about this last week with Dan on the podcast. I watched part of an interview with Duncan Trussell on, dare I say it, Bro Jogan. But Duncan talked about it in a little bit more detail. Again, I haven't heard anything from Pendleton, but he talked about the process and watching Pendleton work and just how insanely talented him and the entire team of animators, you know, to be able to just take that and form that world, even though it's very distracting to Dan. No conflict.
No conflict.
None whatsoever.
I don't have conflict anymore because I took a lot of drugs.
Oh, good. That's good. Just in the last 2 minutes.
Just don't understand either.
Yeah, just now. Just now I took them. Had the whole trip. Now I'm a man of peace.
So would you say you're turning into a different person?
Yeah. And I got a lot of goals that I'm going to accomplish now.
Lots of goals.
Anyway, you know it's all a bit, guys. Come on. Comedy podcast, comedy jokes. You know, you come here, you get your giggles, and you get out. Or else.
Like the movie.
Hey, what about that Eric on? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Bad Trip. Yeah.
Bad Trip.
I gotta hear about this because I didn't know it was actually out. Like, how do I?
Is it a movie? Or is it special? Oh,
it's a movie.
Okay.
It's a movie.
It's like a Bad Grandpa type thing, right?
Yeah, it's essentially Bad Grandpa with Eric Andre, Lil Rel Howery, and Tiffany Haddish. as the main cast. I mean, they have other paid, actors that are in on the bits.
Of course.
But it's every scene is a setup where they have, it's like street bits where the other people are not in on.
Yeah, right. It's
the
all
insane things that are happening.
Exactly.
It was better than I expected, actually.
Same.
He showed a clip at his stand-up show. He showed the trailer, and I was kind of like, okay, that looks like Bad Grandpa, but there was a lot of great skits in it. Like I think the thing I liked the most were like the moments where they were performing scenes for the film, because there's this wraparound story to it in between just doing the pranks, like, crashing the art show and Eric Andre like working at the car detailing place or whatever. Like there's this wraparound story where he is going to New York to find this girl. And there were like dramatic scenes that he performs like in public. Like, so him and Lil Rel will be like in this public space yelling at each other. And then the people around them are like characters in the film's narrative, which is funny. There's a part where he like sits down with this old man and he's like, man, I just don't know what I'm going to do, man. Like, what should I do? I love this girl.
Burst out into the musical number in the fucking mall.
Yeah, well, it's like that joke was actually a parody of the same thing that I made fun of a few episodes ago when I was talking about West Side Story and how he and like there's the song in West Side Story where he's just like, Maria, I just met a girl named Maria. He did the same joke that I did, which was that he breaks into the song and it's just this inane phrase of I met a girl today over and over and over again. And he's doing it in a public space. And then like it's a flash mob of dancers come in and I don't know. Great bits, good vibes, good all around.
I want to know a few things. Obviously I thought that bit was really good. The breaking into song, even though you said it's a parody, whatever. The outtakes were one of my favorite at the very end.
The outtakes definitely neutralize the vibe because there's a lot of those scenes where you're like,
so oof. What I'm curious about, and I had seen an interview with Eric Andre specifically about the Chinese finger trap in the barber shop. Where the guy chases them with a knife. It's like a lot of these bits do not go over well. I mean, that's the whole point. They're not supposed to go over well. They're trying to cause as much, frustration as humanly possible. But I want to know, like, how much of it, like some of those shots that are so close up, obviously they filmed them separately.
Yeah, there's a lot of inserts.
Yeah, between him and Lil Rel, obviously they got those tight shots separate. But then, how much of it is hidden camera? Who all is in on it? Who's spectating? How real are these setups? Because you see a lot of this in the Eric Andre show, but this is different. This is like very high definition. You got to imagine they have a whole fucking camera crew. I just want to know what his fucking legal team is like.
Oh yeah,
the gorilla thing. The gorilla thing went overboard. Like,
what happened in the gorilla bit?
I don't know if I want to spoil it. No, I don't know.
Yeah, that one's too good of a scene to really spoil.
Okay.
I mean, he did talk about it in the interview, which I watched before the movie. But yeah, I won't spoil it for you guys. But it's
fair enough.
It's a lot.
There was also another part where basically Tiffany had just harassed a man for straight up.
I fucking love Tiffany Haddish's character in that movie.
Yeah, she was really good.
Great bits, good bits.
Just the shots of her, she rips the fucking police car door off barehanded, and then there's just the shots of her driving around in a stolen police car, like waving to people on the highway.
All right, I gotta give the rating.
Can't wait to see it.
That's a tough one. Yeah, definitely not in the. I'm sorry, my system's rebooting.
5.
So 5. I'll give it a. We'll go 3.7.
3.7.
All right, no rookie scores.
37. No, 37 stars.
37 stars out of 5.
Oh,
yes.
Well, you clearly have a different system than I do. I'm going strong 3.
I was gonna go 3.5.
There you go. And this has been Time for Films.
This is the Time for Films theme song. It's over.
We have another segment that we like to do. It's called Questions That Have Plagued Mankind.
Who am I? Where do I belong? Where is the path? Questions that have plagued mankind.
This is my favorite.
Ominous.
You said that about Time for Films.
It's all my favorite, man. I can't choose.
All right. So we got our first question. So this one is from Anonymous, and he asked, "How do I bring Colonel Sanders back to life?"
Colonel Sanders.
Oh,
that's the KFC guy, right?
Yeah. How do you bring him back to life?
That's the KKK guy.
Maybe. Who knows?
I bet you could throw fried chicken just on any gravesite, and then maybe he'll pop up out of the ground or something.
Maybe you could make like a KFC bucket ritual where you place the bucket over his gravestone and then like have little drumsticks on the sides and like make a little voodoo doll out of it. Maybe
that's a good idea.
Okay, you gotta grow a goatee first, though.
Yeah, you have to dress up like Colonel Sanders and then do the whole thing.
Yeah, that could work. Yeah, like just dress up as a really just white Southern man and just.
Do you even want to bring that guy alive? Like, do you want to bring him back to life? Is that?
Well, apparently this guy does. The guy asking the question does.
That's not the question. That's not the real question. It's if you wanted to, how do you do it?
Yeah,
exactly.
We're not getting into the moral quandary of whether or not you should bring him back to life.
All right. I'm just saying, yeah, I'm sure he was a great guy.
Okay, well, Jake.
Nick looks like a line cook on break right now.
Because I am, dude. I'm just sitting here heating my fucking vape pen.
You're straight up in the back of a restaurant right now.
So what you got to do is you take a full chicken leg, you put DMT on it.
Oh, okay.
You take a big old bite, then you bury that chicken leg in the ground. You have to have already dug a hole.
Yeah.
That's a part of
that's
this.
obvious.
Few candles around the hole. Bury the leg, and then you sing praises. You recite the it's like 30 something spices.
I was saying you could just recite any KFC commercial.
It's actually only 5 essential herbs and spices, Dan.
5 essential herbs and spices.
Okay.
You just recite those over and over and over again. And at the stroke of midnight, Colonel Sanders will appear in his phantasmal visage. And,
makes sense.
So for the ritual, should you have someone from his family be in it? Like that's the thing. Like, if he even has any family members left, I don't.
His son.
Or maybe
Timothy.
someone who works at KFC.
Timothy
Okay, yeah,
Sanders.
get a line
Sergeant
worker.
Sanders.
The manager from KFC.
Get a regional manager from KFC to just appear and watch it over and see what happens.
His father, General Sanders, was not very proud of him because he only rose to the rank of colonel. And, seeing how as General Luciferius Sanders, his father, was so well respected by the military and rose to such a high rank, general, and his punk ass son, Colonel Kevin Sanders, only, you know,
Like off the kernel.
Yeah.
Didn't work hard enough.
And that's why, yeah, big failure, big letdown. And this is why the chicken is so good, because he had to come up with something to impress his father. Like he worked his whole life just trying to fill that hole, you know.
And there's the KFC bucket, the hole holding all the chicken.
Hey, Duncan Trussell, if you're listening, this is the part you should cut out to do an episode about, because this is kind of emotional. It's kind of spiritual. It's about Kevin Sanders and his like
really
life.
deep.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we solved it.
We solved that riddle.
Good mystery solving.
I miss Norm Macdonald being on the Colonel Sanders commercials. That was great. That was a good little run he had.
Oh, Norm Macdonald?
Do that.
Yeah, they had those.
Was he playing Colonel Sanders?
Friend of the podcast, Norm Macdonald.
Is that right?
Why is he a friend of the podcast?
Because he loves our podcast. Duh.
Dude, Norm Macdonald's the shit.
When did he say that?
He
I'm
said
not aware
it to
of
me.
it.
I'm sorry. I guess
His
he didn't
last
contact
special?
you. I talk to him on the phone every week. So
If anyone, it would have been Ben, because he actually worked at that event.
Yeah, I've definitely got the ins there.
Oh yeah, that's right, dude. Yeah, you got some cool stories on Norm Macdonald. That's right.
You
man.
just all you have to do to summon Norm Macdonald and become his best friend is offer a reasonable bet.
Dude, what are you doing? That's not a friendly thing to do, man. You got a problem.
All right, so I think I have another question that's similar to a question we've had before, but so this is so just for clarification, I think Red Hen is a restaurant. So this
I don't know. Looking at that couch, I got a different.
Listen, this is
feeling about
irrelevant
that
to
one,
me. I already know what's going to happen to me in a couple hours. I don't need to hear it.
Nick looks like he's selling mixtapes on the street.
because I am. Buy them.
Also, do you have the same Aquabats t-shirt that I do? There's a little side note, little personal thing. Yeah.
Yes, I do. Holy guacamole.
Didn't Charlie also buy that shirt?
We got Chips and Kelly.
Wow.
Everyone has the same shirt?
Yep, we're all lame. We all got the same shirt.
Everybody was like, I was like, I'm going to go check the merch booth. And you guys were all like, we're going to go smoke cigarettes because we're cool. And I thought I was the only person buying merch. Turns out everybody bought the shirts that I bought. Go ahead, Josh.
No hard feelings.
No conflict.
Aussie vibes only.
Aussie vibes.
All right. So this is another question from Anonymous. And he says, I just got the squirts after eating at the Red Hen. Can I sue them?
No, you should thank them.
It's releasing it all out. It's removing the toxicity from your body.
Exactly.
After eating a Red Hen.
Purge.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay.
I think that guy's got a stick up his ass. He really, or her, or they, who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
You know, I mean, it depends on who you are as a person. I've had a similar experience at Raising Cane's. I didn't sue anyone, you know?
But that's you though. See, what about this person? Because he or
what
she,
about that
whoever,
person? What makes him any different from me?
Look, they had the squirts. I don't know.
Question is, can he do them?
Yeah, can he do them?
Can I do them?
Do them.
So my thing is though, like, what did they eat? Was it bad? And so, if so, why did they continue to eat it even when it's bad?
Yeah, but there's also the question of what they had earlier in the day too.
Yeah,
you can't pin it to Red Hen.
I looked up Red Hen on Google. The first result is a Wikipedia page called Red Hen Restaurant Controversy.
Oh, shit.
Oh, so, okay, well, hold on. This gets deeper.
Maybe they can't sue, though.
Maybe Red Hen was trying to poison all their customers just for fun. Who knows? Fuck it. They're already there. They're already established.
Model. Yeah. It's a little different. Let me remind everybody before I say this that this is a comedy show. The Red Hen Restaurant Controversy was an American political controversy that began June 22nd, 2018, when a co-owner of the Red Hen restaurant in Lexington, Virginia, asked Donald Trump's White House press secretary, Sarah Sanders, to leave. The co-owner later cited Sanders' role in what the co-owner called the inhumane and unethical Trump administration, in which Sanders had publicly defended the president's cruelest policies. So basically, the Red Hen told somebody to leave because they were in the Trump administration.
Okay.
Can I sue them?
So I'm guessing
that's what he said.
Maybe this was retaliation for that person not leaving. So they decided to target this specific person because fuck them.
Yeah,
Sarah
maybe that
Huckabee
Sanders is the anonymous person.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I actually think Sarah Huckabee Sanders might have benefited because she didn't get the runs because she had to leave the restaurant.
Huh, so was she hired at the restaurant, Dan? Is that what the Wikipedia
No,
said?
she was the press secretary of the White House, and the owner asked her to leave because she was part of the Trump administration.
Oh, she was eating at Red Hen. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'm a little more concerned with what Jake's doing. Jake, what are you doing over there?
I think he's getting beer.
What am I was about to. Nah, I'm just hanging
No,
out.
he doesn't.
Man.
Okay.
Change up
No,
the
I
scenery.
had to put my phone on the charger, so yeah. Decided to move over a little bit in the kitchen.
Great.
Great camera angle going on right now.
Real fun stuff.
You get to see his muscles.
Oh yeah.
I got one final question, and so this is a question because everyone here is male. So
Yes.
I'm assuming,
you assume?
I knew it. I knew someone was going to spring that shit up.
Comedy podcast.
No conflict.
No conflict. We're all mediators.
So
all of us mediators.
No one's different. So this is again. I'm just going to bring up people because they're always anonymous. I don't know. About 70% of these questions are always going to be like anonymous. It seems like. So whatever. But this question asks, how can I become a fully woke male?
Ooh, I have one TV show for you. I got a TV show you gotta check out.
All right.
What's the show?
Midnight Gospel, dude.
No, you gotta watch
this
Joe
shit?
Rogan. You gotta watch Joe Rogan. Don't
Also
even listen to
Rogan.
this. Don't even listen to this podcast. Just go to Joe Rogan.
Certainly not this podcast. Like that's gonna, you're gonna go. Ooh, you're gonna sleep. You listen to this.
Not taking enough DMT.
Exactly. Because I don't promote DMT. This is kind of like a sleeping pill of a podcast.
Well, it's because you just don't know, dude.
Exactly.
I think they need to take a lot of DMT, like almost too much, but not over the edge.
Just the right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Josh, can you
amount.
go ahead and comment that? Take a lot of DMT.
Can you, Josh? Can you repeat the question? Did you say how? What?
I'll repeat the question. How can I become a fully woke male?
DMT.
So yeah,
100%.
DMT. I guess that's the answer.
That's the only. That's the only answer.
Listen to.
But that
Bo
applies to male and female. So it's interesting. I wonder if there's a
male.
Yeah, specifically male. I wonder if that would make any difference.
Well, first of all, you need to own a gun.
Okay, so a lot of gun, a lot of DMT.
Okay.
Own a gun and do DMT. That's my answer.
Jerk it a
Listen,
lot.
Eminem.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe do a little DMT at an American Eagle store.
You have to
see what
smoke
happens.
DMT out of a gun.
Out of a gun
In an American Eagle changing
Eagle.
room.
You gotta do it to where like in Always Sunny where they have the shotgun blast like that, but just some DMT. That's. Oh yeah, that's all. That's all the questions I have for today. So I think I have a hat that's necessary.
Oh,
But does it say "fuck you"?
No, I wish. I probably should etch that in here at some point. I'm gonna do a little crystal and then say "fuck."
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, you be a rhinestone cowboy
Yeah,
that says,
see,
just yeah.
Rhinestone Cowboy, my new band.
you look like Woody.
Well,
All right, that just about wraps it up for the Triplefour podcast. Thanks for listening. Hey, I think it looks good, Josh. It reminds me of Triplefour Hall of Famer.
What time is it? I gotta have this meeting soon. Oh shit, yeah.
No shit.
They're about to knock on the fucking door. And he said, "I've been here for 2 hours. What the hell were they doing? Were they fucking getting dinner? And I didn't have any?"
Oh,
damn, Josh, your face is just gone.
The fact that I also found this in the office too.
Dude, it's a porno. It's a porno room, man.
I don't know. I believe Josh.
I don't know anymore, man.
Hopefully it all works out, man. Hopefully you get the role.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need some money at these times, these hard times.
If you ever see a movie, called Gaper, you mean that may be.
Oh no.
Let me know.
Oh Lord. All right. Bye.
Been fun.